Today I wanted to talk about one thing, a really important thing, and that's conception of God from my personal experience, which can pretty well and pretty much be wrong. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. I am saying this not to prophesize, not to preach, but simply to express my experience. And the experience of mine can be as wrong as anybody else's. Because divine metaphysical matters are not something feeble human mind can comprehend. And indeed, those are great secrets we will fundamentally never understand. So, according to my experience, God is indeed the origin of the biblical text and many other holy scriptures. Western texts, Christian texts, Muslim texts, Buddhist texts, Hindu texts, they all come from God. They are all revelation. And they are all fundamentally saying the same thing. However, the concept of God we are raised with is fundamentally, in my opinion, incorrect. Because God is not anything like spirits we work with. You see, Belial is a spirit, Azazel is a spirit, Michael is a spirit, Raphael is the spirit, Kali is the spirit, Shiva is the spirit. But God is the oneness and unity which is beyond all of that. So God is unity of existence, unity of glory, unity of might, unity of wisdom, unity of war. He is the origin of all, and He is the progenitor of all. In modern times, we tend to idolize God. What I mean by idolize? I mean create certain idols, create certain images and conceptions of God, and then push those conceptions and images upon God. And I think that's wrong, because God is imageless, conceptless, formless. He is beyond darkness and light. And when you pray to God, when you read the prayer, you are indeed communing with that. And that source of power, that source of my relationship with that is fundamental for any spiritual operation. So it doesn't matter, do you work with demons, do you work with angels, do you work with the Fae, do you work with the saints? You should pray to God, and you should work with God. Now, many of people who watch this video will find what I am saying really problematic, because there is a severe theological education, or there is severe lack of theological education in this occult community. People are claiming that God appeared to them as so and so, and that God tried to kill them, or whatever. And it kind of proves that they are essentially not aware of what actually people refer to when they say God. The concept of God in Christianity is theologically, when you read actually theological literature, the concept of God in Christianity is fundamentally the same as the concept of God in Hinduism, or concept of Brahman oneness in Hinduism. But people are educated by Protestant theologians of today who actually don't have access to those older works. in which God is actually described not necessarily as a person, but as a life-giving, life-nurturing power which feeds all of existence and nurtures all of existence through his will and his life force in every second. That is the old concept of God, which is present in the Bible, and which is also present in Hinduism, in Buddhism, which is also present in many, many different religions and spiritual teachings through time. All of them have more or less the same concept of God. Even many of the ancient Greek Platonic thinkers were of the same opinion. So God is that source of all existence, source of all life. And by his eternal nature, he is beyond light and darkness. That is what is written in theological texts, that God is not conceptualized. He is beyond any human concept, and he is giving life to every form of existence anywhere in the world. He is nurturing it with life force. And that's exactly what Hindu mystics say as well. So, if you go into deep Christian theology, there is no difference between Hindu concept of God and Christian concept of God. They simply use different language, and it makes sense. Where and how, for example, prayers and moral rules and regulations fit into this? Well, when you pray, what you do is you are allowing the energy of that source to flow through you. And the purpose of moral rules and regulations in the holy scriptures of all religions is to allow us to become vehicles for creative aspects of the source of God. And that's what majority of the world religions are trying to do. And if you honestly think that the Christian rules are strict, read a little bit of Brahmanic laws or of Western laws, and then we can talk about being strict. All spiritual teachings of the world are actually extremely strict, behavior-wise and habit-wise, towards their followers, if you actually read the texts. There is a pretty solid point to argue that the dharmic religions of Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism, if you follow the official Brahmanic and Lamic law, are much more strict than Christianity. The fact that modern Hindu gurus and modern Buddhist lamas who came to the West are simply making money cow isn't changing the original texts. Therefore, we should study, for example, the Psalms, and we should study the Christian prayers, and we should work with them in a way which benefits our magic and our spiritual evolution. Demons fundamentally have nothing against you using Christian prayers in your work. And everybody who tells you that demons somehow have something against you using Christian prayers in your work are dogmatic. They don't. People who wrote the original Goetic grimoires we study today used Christian prayers in their work all the time, and demons worked with them. And they had really good relationship with those individuals. So, yes, you can use Christian prayers in your work with spirits of all kinds, and it will not create you any problems. So, how to use them? That's the question. And what's the practical application of it? So, read the Christian prayer of your choosing. Read the psalm of your choosing. And then focus on the top of your head, which is usually the place people locate crown chakra on. And then focus on light descending from the sky to the top of your head while you read. And if you focus long enough and read prayer long enough, crown chakra will open and you will receive enormous amounts of life force energy. That will make you much more able to work with demonic entities, because calling demonic entities is actually, if you do it properly, extremely intense experience. And you need that additional life force energy to withstand the experience. If you want to go all the way in, this is pretty beneficial for preventing insanity and all kinds of mental breakdowns while you do magic. So, this is pretty simple method and it did wonders for me. I did it on and off for kinda significant period of time in my practice, but I didn't share it with the public because I was afraid of public opinion. Now I am not. And here is the thing. There is a benefit of working only with the demonic, without angels. If you do so, you will be able to tap into their darker mysteries much quicker, but there is also a benefit of working with both at the same time, and there is also a benefit in working with only angels. It's a matter of personal choice. And I also want to address one more thing in the occult community, and that's a ridiculous notion I see a lot of the time. And that's the notion that Metatron is somehow not an angel, that he is a demon. And this is actually a really widespread notion I saw from a lot of sources. So, this is utter ignorance. So, if you claim that Metatron is a demon, then you essentially claim that all angels are demons. Because Metatron, or Enoch, is referenced as angel in the Old Testament, in the Book of Enoch, and also in enormous amount of rabbinical commentary. So you have more than 2000 years of tradition of Enoch, aka Metatron, being an angel. And the only people who claim that Metatron is a demon are Christian fundamentalists, usually of Protestant denomination, who cannot handle the fact that they don't have any theological stance which is older than 200 years. So when they hear any of the older theological stances from Orthodoxy, from Catholicism, from Judaism, or from Gnosticism, for that matter, they call you a demon worshipper, idol worshipper, and they tell you that you should burn in hell, and that all of the angels and demons you work with are evil, and that they should lead you to eternal damnation. And they essentially, those Protestant theologians, they have no argument. There is no any argument to claim, theologically wise, that Metatron is a demon. There is no any reference to Metatron as a demon in a scripture. There is no any reference to Metatron as a demon in a Catholic or Protestant theology. In all theologies of all Christian churches, Enoch is prophet and Enoch is an angel. The Jews go more into the angelic nature of Enoch, and believe it or not, Enoch is known as Idris in Islam, and he is semi-divine figure even in Islam. So, believe me or not, there is no reference in any Abrahamic scripture of Enoch being a demon. The only people who claim that Enoch is a demon are people who have pretty clear ideological agenda to proclaim Enoch to be a demon in order to cover up their own theological ignorance. And those people are mostly Protestant Christians from United States. So thank you for watching and see you tomorrow.